Not long after arriving in Hollywood, California, the land of dreams, perfect weather and palm trees everywhere, I met an enthusiastic actor named Gary Busey. I remember getting off the stage, finishing a performance, and I remember him walking towards me. And I figured, hey, he's going to come over and say, good job, keep up the great work, or something really encouraging like that. Instead, he got right in my face and said, kid, you got dreams? And I was like, yes, Mr. Busey, I have dreams. And he's like, are they big dreams? And I was like, yeah, I guess they're kind of big. And he said, no, you got to dream big and you have to chase those dreams. Otherwise, you're chasing empty spaces and you're running from your fears, kid. And as quickly as I could wipe his spit off my face, Gary was gone. Gary just completely freaked me out. I didn't sleep right for a week thinking, was I dreaming big enough? We all have dreams, some bigger than others. Growing up in New York, I never really gave much thought about the importance of dreaming big. And I know now that was a mistake. As I was growing up in New York, I never gave much thought about the importance of how important it would be to be comfortable in New York with my family and my friends, living in New York. I didn't want things to change. But we did everything we did to keep things the same with our culture. Cultural traditions should be celebrated, but also understood better. I grew up understanding that my traditions are the roadmap to my life, and that's the path that I focused on taking. And of course, coming from a tight family, you're going to do your part. And that's what I did, from working in the family restaurant to helping maintain the real estate holdings. It wasn't much, but we all did our small part to help. Then in 2002, my cousin told me he was moving to California. I couldn't believe it. Losing Mario wouldn't just be like losing a cousin. It was like losing a brother. So the first thing I asked him was, you kill somebody? What did you do? Why are you moving to California? What's up? But he said he just wanted to move to California and try something new. Try something new? What an interesting concept, huh? What would that be? What would that look like? How long will this take? How much can I make? And then I thought, nope, sounds too hard. Who needs that headache? But when your brother moves across the country with nobody there to watch his back, in my family, you buy a plane ticket and you go together. The Albanian flag has an eagle with two heads on it for a reason, to always remind us to watch each other's back. Always. Little did I know that California would become my new home for well over a decade now. Still to today, it's hard for me to believe that I've shot in 6 countries, 10 U.S. states, and have had the privilege of working with legendary actors such as Robert Duvall and Ed Harris, and of course, the fan favorite, James Franco. So, how did this happen for me? As I said before, I was very comfortable in New York, and I didn't want things to change. But that didn't mean I was satisfied. And guess what? I wasn't. Having a change of scenery opened me up to a whole new world, and I realized how much more I could be doing. My mom told me I got greatness in me, right? But don't we all? To quote Viktor Frankl, what man needs is not attention to slave, but actually the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of him. What he needs is not the discharge of tension at any cost, but the call of a potential meaning just waiting to be fulfilled by him. Nowadays, if you have any questions, you can just Yahoo, Bing, Google, Bloggle, Yaga, the answer to any one of your questions. Except, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? There's only 1,001 ways how to figure that out. And the good thing is that everybody has an opinion about your life and how you should spend it. The bad thing is that everybody has an opinion about your life and how you should spend it. How often do you open yourself up to new opportunities to where you're willing to move 3,000 miles away from everything you knew, only to just start over from scratch because this strange gut feeling told you to do so? For me, I figured out what I wanted to do backwards. I love to keep life interesting that way. I reverse engineer the process. I figured out what I wanted to do by not doing anything I didn't want to do. But when something got me really excited, I learned to pay really close attention to it. And through trial and error, I figured I was most enthusiastic in the entertainment industry. I remember how much fun I used to have in my pizzeria just messing with my customers. Nobody had more fun. I had so much fun, in fact, that my father used to fire me twice a week. But he always let me go back. I quickly realized how hard it was going to be for me in Los Angeles. I had no connections in the entertainment industry. Only a few friends that I made when I got there. But then my friend Turbo introduced me to a phenomenal acting coach, Joe Police. Joe turned out to be a great mentor. And through him, I learned how to take this ball of energy and just focus it towards a goal. Joe was instrumental in taking this very confusing industry and making it my own personal playground. Short time after, I headed to Mexico for a feature film. Hey, the acting classes paid off, and I got the role. And I had a lot of fun on this film set. But that gut feeling came back, and I saw something else that really excited me now. And I was like, these crazy producers are just running around making sure this production keeps moving forward, no matter what it takes. So I started asking these producers a lot of questions, and I became a world-class pain in the ass. Hey, you want to learn something new, you got to learn how to become a pain in the ass. I didn't have any production experience, but even my father would have to admit I had a solid work ethic. So, over time, I popped in and out of their production offices in Hollywood just to see how I could help. Not long after, I hopped on board one of their next feature films. I slowly learned my way each film as I worked more and more and more, from development to finance to pre-production, physical production, post-production, to distribution, from theatrical releases to video on demand. And I'm the kind of guy that can go this way really quick. So I gotta stay focused. And for me, I have a bunch of things that keep me focused. They're like 200 things that I look at, but I've condensed them to about 20. And I'm not sure if they're gonna show them here, but they did. For me, I got my pay price for action. I look at this all the time. I pay a price for every action that I take. Is my action taking me towards my goal or away from my goal? Now, 3 days ago, I landed in Tirana, Albania. And I was supposed to go to Kosovo to see my family and friends. But I really wanted to work on my TED Talk so I can come here and be awesome. So I went to the beach in Albania, and I had a blast. Sitting by the beach, working on my speech, or hanging out with my family. That was a price that I was willing to pay. It's a hard job, but somebody's got to do it. And I learned how to calculate my life and my decision-making process by my mentors. My mentors is somebody who's been there, done that, proven track record. And I figured out what a mentor was pretty late in life. But then I figured out, wait a second. When I was little and I was doing karate, my sensei was my mentor. Then in high school, my football coach was my mentor. And then my business mentor is the kind of guy that just shoves his foot up my butt and throws me across the goal line at any cost. And I value people like that in my life. He's the one who really teaches me about yesterday's dreams of today's realities and making things happen. But my most important mentors are my parents. They are absolutely the most moral, legal, ethical people I've ever met in my life. And if I could be at least 25% of the people that they are, I'll be just fine. But your business mentors, your life mentors, whatever kind of mentors you have, they will help you to accomplish putting together your dream team. You gotta have a team together to accomplish your goals. You just have to in many different areas. They'll tell you the difference between short-term goals versus long-term goals and how to accomplish them all. And they'll also be there for you to keep your laser beam focused, like I said before. I'm more like a shotgun back in the day, just scatter blasted everywhere. But now, I'm like a sharpshooter. When I laser beam focus on something, it doesn't stand a chance. Oh, you got to take some big risks, guys. You got to take risks. If you're not taking risks, there's no way you're growing. And you got to create a solid foundation. Like this stage, I know people who try to build a house on this stage. What's going to happen when it goes 3 stories high? Boom. That's what a lot of people try to do with their lives. Take the time to get rid of the quicksand, bring in your construction crew, fill it in with some concrete, throw in your focus, throw in your goals, throw in your dream team, some mentors, put it in there, in the fabric of your foundation, and make it so strong to where you can go 100 stories high. Nobody will ever be able to come up to you and break your foundation because you built it so solid. And one of my most important rules, never forget to have an adventure. Your life is way too short. I was 18 yesterday. I'm afraid to find out I'm going to be tomorrow. But there's a problem with all this stuff. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time to do it right. And now, in this world of instant gratification, we have everything at our fingertips. And we demand everything. Faster, better, cheaper. Always looking for the path of least resistance. There's no short-term solutions to long-term problems. And my interest is in the future because that's where I get to spend the rest of my life. So taking the time to do things right, they will take longer. But in the long run, you will be on hyperdrive. And I found that my highest and best value use of my time is spent creating authentic relationships with a small group of like-minded people who are forward thinkers with big dreams, who know the value in taking direct action. There was a long period in my life when there was no such thing as my comfort zone. I lived in the learning and in the panic zone. And it was some of the biggest growing pains of my life. You know, I'm always like calculating, where am I right now in my life? I welcome you all to do the same. Are you in your learning zone, your comfort zone, or your panic zone? I love this zone. This is where amazing things happen because you get to stretch yourself into doing things you never knew possible. But I learned if I wanted to grow in this business, I had to grow quick. And the quickest way I knew how to grow was to double, triple, even quadruple my failure rate. Just screw things up. Fall upwards. Learn from your mistakes, because I'm the kind of guy that learns from his own mistakes. I guess I just like to have all the experience that life has to offer. But life has an expiration date. And time is extremely valuable. To where high-performance people understand the value of their time and only hang out with other high-performance people who have high expectations, not average expectations, which forces me to constantly step up my game. I'm a little bit older now and more selective on the projects I work on because I know firsthand each one of my projects is going to take years of my life developing, producing, acting, and distributing. Nothing worse than wasting your time, just making it happen. I guess I've been very fortunate to be able to work in every aspect of filmmaking. I guess the harder I work, the more opportunities that open up for me. But I've also been very, very lucky to where my family and close friends have all been in good health, to where I can focus on what it is I want. So don't cross out luck. It's a big part of life. And as long as I keep paying my dues by only learning by new mistakes, I feel a lot less constrained by these champion intimidators I meet daily. And with the knowledge I know today, I can produce my own films and confidently make any project that I want with my partners, no problem. And surrounding myself with amazing like partners has proven extremely successful for me, and I welcome everybody to do the same. It's been well over a decade since I left New York City, and that time just flew. Wow. Feels like yesterday when I was in the pizzeria just messing with the customers. But I traveled the world now making movies that I believe in. I'd like to think that I'm the guy you hear about in a story, about that guy who broke down that door, jumped on their desk, and just wouldn't take no for an answer. But I'm just the guy who couldn't leave his brother's side. who's been on quite an adventure ever since. And I want to leave you with this. Right now, the world is in desperate need of true leaders. And leaders are like eagles. Eagles do not flock. You only find them one at a time. Now, what would you do if you knew that you just couldn't fail? Huh? Now, go out and do it. For them to show me a portion.